Chuck, when you play golf, and I'm talking about the new Charles playing golf.
Yes.
There are certain holes you get to when you're playing, even if it's a course you play all the time.
Yes.
And there's like a certain hole. Oh, when I get to 15, and you're thinking about it for 4 holes, that water on the right gets me every time. I put it in there about 15 times. The Cleveland Cavaliers are the 15th hole for the Toronto Raptors. They can be playing as well as they can during the regular season, and then that 15th hole jumps up and gets them every
sometimes
time.
when I'm in the zone, I play a hook.
Yeah. It's like when you need to play a fade, but all you hit is a draw.
Shout out to Jason Duffner. Jason plays he plays a cut also.
Yeah.
Psychologically, after game 1, they were done. Ernie, remember what I said when we said get ready for game 1? I said I would never say a team has to win a game 1, but the Toronto Raptors had to win game 1.
And the way they lost it. In overtime all the misses and everything else.
No, just losing the game because they were still shell-shocked in game 2 because they got beat down in game 2. And then they tried to show some pride in game 3, and then they quit again tonight. I'm just disappointed. I really am because I like their players, I like their coach, but to come out and just get dominated 2 games, just like quit basically in 2 games, when you're the number 1 seed, they've lost this team 10 straight times, man, in the playoffs. That's crazy.
Sometimes I think a team just has your number. After game 1, I don't know if the media asked them this question, but they were talking about, no, they're not in our head, no, we're not scared, we're not this, which meant to me that they were still thinking about it. And, game 2, they came out and played nervous basketball. They lost that, and, their backs were against the wall. LeBron did what he did. Played pretty good game 3, but I think LeBron, when he hit that shot off the glass, he just took
but they were done after game 2, Shaq.
He just took their
once they lost them first 2 at home, they wasn't going to come.
But I told you this, that Toronto wasn't ready. I told you
I'm man enough to admit, I said, this is not this. You said, this is the same old rep. I said, no, it's not. They're new and improved. But you know what? Hey, you got to be man enough to admit when you're wrong, and I was 100% wrong on the Raptors.
I mean,
we the North.
We the North. I mean, we could go over all of the energy level, the strategic things that they did incorrectly, and we do that. We can have a laundry list of things and go, oh wow, it's after the fact, of course. So I'm not going to try to go into that, but it was a lot that was very obvious that could have been changed. I will say that. But the question I always get asked now is, and I'll ask Chuck and Shaq, and I'll tell you what I think is he what Michael Jordan, is he in that level? Is he that? Is he better than that? The new millennials out without a doubt. But the people who have been,
I hate this fake
the comparative.
I hate this fake comparison. LeBron is great in his own right. I mean, listen, Sidney Crosby in hockey. If you think he's better than Wayne Gretzky, you're entitled to that opinion. If you think Pete Sampras or is better than Roger Federer or Rafael Nadal, it's all subjective. LeBron is great. I've said this before. After Michael, my top 5, I've always said is Michael, Oscar, Bill Russell, Kareem, and Wilt. I got Kobe 6, I got LeBron 7. It's all subjective. If somebody's different, I'm never going to say a bad thing about LeBron James. I'm never going to say he's one of the greatest I've ever seen. But all this stuff is just talk radio to me.
Yeah.
Like these guys.
But this is the conversations that
they're not real.
But you ain't got.
But they're not real conversations because obviously the guys didn't play against each other. Chuck makes a great point. Barbershop talk.
Yep.
In this era, he's the greatest. In that era, Michael's the greatest. Every era has a heir apparent. A guy that who ran the era. The question you should be asking: what are we going to do with Toronto? We're going to break them up.
You got to do
those two.
They still a young team.
I don't know. Breaking them up is the answer, or maybe adding to it.
Because
they have some.
They already added to it.
Nice,
they had the best bench in the NBA. What are you talking about adding to it?
Add
nothing else.
Well, I need to have my best starting 5.
Thank you. Okay.
Give me a best starting 5, like Golden
talking.
State, and having the best bench.
I totally agree with you. This is instead of worried about what's next, Toronto's got to make a decision. This is 3 years in a row that they've lost to the Cavs.
Well, they got to hope LeBron goes west, and then they won't have to play him.
First of all, I would never say that, Ernie.
What? Say what?
I would never say, as a player, you can ask Kenny this, or you can say this. I would never, as a player, hey guys, we ain't gonna win. This guy leave.
I said it in jest.
No, I know that, but I'm saying, but also, you know what they got?
People are saying that for real.
But you know what? You know what they got? They have to sit down and make an honest, like, are we good enough? What we need to work, because you look at the future. Forget what LeBron's gonna do. I hope he stays in Cleveland. I already said that. But now you got the Celtics, and you got the Sixers for the next 10 years,
and possibly the Bucks. If they get
they're not in that conversation.
I mean, young team.
No. They're not as good as.
No, they're not nowhere near.
No,
but right now, Boston and Philly.
Let me tell you something. Do you know what's a great conversation we should have right now? For the next,
how long would you like to stay here tonight?
That's all right. I'm good.
Oh, we can go home right now.
No,
because I want to watch the hockey game. Shout out Alex Ovechkin.
What's your next great?
For the next 5 years, Shaq, and I'd like to get both of y'all opinion. For the next 5 years, would you rather be the Philadelphia 76ers or the Boston Celtics?
Ooh.
Boston Celtics.
I would say I would
Boston
probably
Celtics.
be the Boston Celtics because what they're doing without their best two players and what Brad Stevens doing without their best two players. When Philadelphia didn't have their best two players, they were fishing in the lottery every year.
And to add on to that, Boston has a system.
Without question.
Philadelphia just talent, run up and down, shoot threes. That'll win you some games, but that ain't gonna get you no championship. Systems win championships. So to answer your question, I'd rather be Boston.
I think I would rather be Boston right now. But I did say earlier that this might be the best thing if they lose, that 4-1. The best thing for those two guys, Embiid and Simmons, you just put Embiid out of it, but I think him as well, their workout regimen this summer will be totally different, and they will come back differently because they've been great players to get to this point on talent, and now you know what, maybe I do have a hole in my game.
No question.
It's hard to, my father used to say this all the time. He said, don't sit next to Chuck too much because it might rub off. But then he also said, it's hard to work hard when you're sleeping in silk robes. And those guys would have got to the Eastern Conference Finals, possibly of championship. They could be sleeping in silk robes.
Robe?
Yeah, it's hard to work hard.
Chuck sleep naked.
Oh, yeah.